Well, hello everybody. Today I'm going to give a 160-mile update to my one-wheel pint, and spoiler alert, I'm going to sell it. So if you just kind of want to know bottom line, not going to keep it. If you want to know why, then stay tuned. Okay, so there are two reasons that I am selling the pint. The first reason is the potential for injury, and I don't want to sound like, whatever, but I'm 52. We talked about that last time. Hitting the ground is something that I don't want any part of, and it happened. Uh, like most accidents, I was doing something maybe a little stupid, not really kind of, but making some kind of real short, swingy type little turns, and the thing kind of slowed down abruptly. The nose of the board went in, and I went kind of onto the ground on sort of my head and shoulder, and then scuffed up my knee too. So, it certainly could have been a lot worse, but it happened really quick. And, it, you know, I know it was sort of my fault, but it was kind of like the thing's brain kind of fritzed out too. And that has happened to me more than once. Now, this thing is incredible as far as reliability and incredible as far as staying underneath you. I mean, you can ride this thing for hundreds of miles or thousands of miles, and the number of times it's going to do something wrong are very small. But I've felt a couple of little stutters here and there, and then had the crash, and it's like the problem is there's just no forgiveness whatsoever, right? Um, my wife got a scooter. We'll talk about that a little bit later. That thing, it's got two wheels, so you can certainly still crash it, and she did. But you're not gonna have that nose going into the ground and then you're gonna go flying issue, and that is just something that is really hard for me to get over. I mean, that's just instant eating the pavement, and let me tell you, the pavement's hard. So I've got some PG-13 pictures. This one of my foot. You guys have seen this one, so look away. But looks pretty bad. That healed up pretty well. And then here's my road rash on my knee. I didn't really hit my head too hard. I was wearing a helmet, thank God. Was wearing gloves, that helped out a lot. I wish I was wearing knee pads because that would have taken care of the road rash. Um, my shoulder, I've kind of got bony shoulders, and that was sore for a couple of weeks. It wasn't like a game changer. I could still ride my bike, and I could still play golf, and I could still all the stuff. But it's like I don't want to have that. I just don't want to have that risk. It just so injury. That's the number one. Okay, so this brings us to number two. What is the second reason that you're getting rid of the pint? Well, I had the pint, my wife had the scooter, and we were kind of getting out and kind of riding around. Everything was great, but she crashed in the scooter, and the little handlebar kind of thing hit her in the ribs, and it just bruised up, and it was just terrible. And she was kind of reluctant to get back on it again. Then she went into the hospital for some other thing, and she had a CT scan of her chest, and the doctor was like, Dr. Frost, could you excuse us for a moment? I'd like to speak with Dr. Kratz privately. And I was like, oh, okay, sure, and, she had to go through the whole thing, like, how did these broken ribs happen, right? 3 broken ribs. We didn't know they were broken, but they were. And so once she realized that, she had broken ribs riding her scooter, she's like, I'm just not up for that. So she's not riding the scooter anymore. And I haven't found anybody down here to go riding with. So it's kind of like it's a lot of fun to go by yourself, kind of, but it's not like going with other people. Like it's kind of inherently a social, thing. And without that social thing, the appeal has kind of gone down. Um, I have started using her scooter to do errands, like go to the grocery store and drive to like our parents' houses, which is pretty cool. The Pint doesn't have quite the range to do that, so those weren't options on the Pint. But the scooter can go, 18 miles an hour, and I can get maybe 15 miles of range out of it. So I can actually use that thing for like legitimate transportation, whereas the Pint for the area I'm living in just didn't quite have the range for legitimate transportation. So I guess maybe that's 3 things, right? There's injury, there's nobody to ride with, and then there's just not fast enough and just not long enough range to make it practical as a transportation item. Um, but mostly it's just the first two. I guess the other thing is that when it comes to resale, resale's better on the Pint than it is on the scooter, especially since when she crashed the scooter, it sort of cracked the frame a little bit. Like it's not a structural crack, but you try to sell that, and it's going to be, you're not going to get as much for it. Whereas the Pint is like essentially brand new. I mean, you can see me riding it. You see how I ride it. I'm not doing anything crazy. It's never been off road. It's never been in the rain. It's never been, the charging. I run it down, but then I take it up, but not to 100%, just like 95%, so I can be a little bit easier on the battery. So the thing has been really babied. So hopefully we'll get a decent price on that thing. It's for sale on eBay if anybody's interested in like bidding on it or whatever. But yeah, I guess that's the four reasons, right? Do we have four reasons here? We have the crashing, which is a big one. There's the nobody to ride with, which is also a big one. There's the not quite long enough range for my specific situation to use as a legitimate transportation device. And then there's the better resale than the scooter, so I guess we'll sell that one. So yeah, that's it. It just some things about this thing are awesome. I mean, it is a lot of fun. You get that surfy feeling, get that carvy feeling. It's very maneuverable. The technology is just amazing how it stays underneath you, it balances underneath you. You got full control. I mean, you can see some of these things like the last day I rode it. How just effortless it looks and effortless it is to glide around on this thing. So tons of fun. I think it's a great product. It just isn't quite good enough for what we need here to stay in the garage, unfortunately. But that's it. Hope it will help somebody, and stay safe out there, guys.